Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be talking to you something that, should I say, is a little bit different from the usual video that I normally do, okay? But I have found out that many people that visit my YouTube channel, they are students, and most times when they approach me, the question they ask, I kind of perceive maybe I should also support on that direction, especially because I'm into academia. So I'll be talking to us about something very, very important. I hope you want to hear that. But anyway, before we continue, my name is Dr. Emmanuel Obodo. I'm a biomedical scientist, and I'm also a lecturer in biomedical science here in the United Kingdom. So yeah, let's get into that. What I want to talk to us now is about academic writing. The reason why I want to make this video is because, like I've said, many of you guys that visit my YouTube channel, you are students, maybe you are, or maybe you intend to come and study here in the United Kingdom, or maybe in any other part of the world, maybe Canada or US, as the case, maybe Australia. So when you go to all these countries, common things you're going to be hearing is what we call academic writing. Now, sometimes I'm not sure, but I don't know for now, but back home, okay, so I'm not sure if that is common, okay, when I was back home. So but in this part of the world, you are going to be hearing academic writing a lot. And because a number of you guys that visit this YouTube channel, you are students, so I felt perhaps I can support you guys to help you to understand this. And let me tell you, first of all, why I decided to make this video. For me, I like to do things based on reason, okay? So I have found out that, many students struggle, even though they have plans when they come to UK or they go to US or Canada, as the case may be, Australia. Maybe they have plans, perhaps, to better their lives. And sometimes, if the aspect of academic is not well structured and looked after, it seems to stampede, kind of affect their progress or their plans, okay, in a country of their residence. Okay, now, and I feel I can contribute to that. That way, by the time my aim is that by the time we understand what this academic writing means, perhaps that issues around academic challenges and all of that will be sorted out, and that can help you to focus on your plan. Now, let me say this before I go ahead. I would recommend, especially when you find yourself new in a country, okay, like United Kingdom or US, especially when you come in as an academic, as a student, one of the things I would recommend is that you spend the initial time not trying to look for job, not trying to, no, those things most times are not a problem. Okay, I understand. I have first-hand experience, by the way, so I understand, the pressure that can bring. But if you don't understand what the university is saying, the lack of that understanding can impact on you when you decide to do your coursework. And that will directly or indirectly slow down your plans. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, let's look at academic writing. Now, when you hear academic writing, it's a general word, but it means a lot of things. Okay. So basically, let me see how I can bring it, to be very easy to understand. So what it means is that when we say academic writing, we are referring to your ability to make a case of any point that you have raised. Okay, now let me explain what I mean. Let me say it this way, because I want you guys to understand what I'm trying to do now. If you have a lawyer, okay, representing you in a court, then that lawyer may say, maybe I'm not a barrister, okay, so please, if I get it wrong, just ignore it. But the lawyer may say something like, okay, my lord, my client has been accused maybe this, that, okay, according to section D, subsection D. So the person will start quoting laws, okay, and when the person quotes the laws, the person wants to use the law to back his or her point concerning his or her client. Stay with me. Now, sometimes if you watch some of these movies, you will see that sometimes you will see that what lawyers do, they may not be so quick to quote law. They may not be so quick to quote the Constitution. They may not quote according to section this, subsection. They may not quote that. They may give you stories, okay? Especially in this part of the world, they have what they call jury. So jury also play a major role in the outcome of that very case. Now, the lawyer might say something like, "My lord," or maybe he can refer to all the audience there. He may say something like, in 1855, a man called maybe ABCD was accused this or that, and that happened, and this case was tried. And so he can give stories of what happened in 1855. And that story, the aim of telling you that story is to narrow it down to, for example, he might say that after all the investigation, this person was wrongly accused and was put in a jail or prison for 10 years. And within the 10 years, then the truth emerged that this person did not commit what the person was accused of. He said, "My lord, this can be similar as my client has been accused today. What if my client is innocent?" So he has used the case of 1850 something to try to play on the intelligence or the emotion of the judge and the jury to think, or at least reason, to give it to consideration of the possibility that his client might be innocent. Because that evidence of 1850 something shows that somebody was wrongly accused and later they found that person was innocent. So now, why did I give you these scenarios? I gave these scenarios to say that academic writing is when we can make a point and justify our point with evidence. It's not so. Let me also say this way. So I hope I'm just need to put this whole together. So first of all, let's look at maybe there are different types of essay writing. Okay, there are different types. Let me mention about two main one. Okay, very two. So in essay, you could be describing, which is descriptive writing. But also, you can also have what we call argumentative essay. You are arguing a point, okay? Now, in academic writing is a combination of these two. Stay with me. In fact, let me even put it this way. Let me go extreme. In academic writing is argumentative writing, okay? Is evidence-based writing. But you cannot have evidence, you cannot make an argument with that description. It takes description to argue. So meaning it takes a point to argue. So until you make a point, we cannot know what you want to argue. Now, stay with me. I want to talk to us about, I'm trying to bring academic writing to be very, very simple to you guys. Now, I don't know if you have seen some people argue about football. Okay, maybe you see some people argue about football. Which club will I use now? Right, I used to support Manchester United. I'm not sure if I still support them, but anyway, let me use them. So Manchester United, okay? So let's say you've seen people arguing about Manchester United. Do you understand me? So you are going to see that if we are 6 or 10 in a room, there's a possibility that the subject is Manchester United, but we have different views. Do you understand? So the subject will be description, which is Manchester United. The different views are the argument. Let me repeat what I said. So we are 10 people talking about Manchester United, okay? The subject, the description, the topic is Manchester United. But all these different opinions of these 10 people become the argument, okay? Become the evidence. So the person, let's say 10 people, see the 10 people as 10 papers. See the 10 people as 10 papers. So now this person may argue about Manchester United about this. Another person may argue about Manchester United about this. Another person may argue about Manchester United about this. Out of these 10 people, maybe 3 people agreed with different evidences. Do you understand? Okay. Now, maybe the 3 people agreed on the evidences of the coaches. Let me explain what I mean. Maybe Three people may agree that maybe, for example, Manchester United is doing well considering the coaches. Another person may say Manchester United is doing well considering the players. Another person may say Manchester United is doing well concerning the other member of the teams, okay, as the case may be, okay, or concerning the administration. One thing is centered there. Three of them are agreeing that Manchester United are doing well. While the other one is saying that they are doing well is based on the coach. The other one is saying that they're doing well is based on the players. The other one is saying that they are doing well is based on the administration or administrative offices, as the case may be. Now, what it then means is that if I want to write about Manchester, I'm just giving you guys an example, what you know to explain academic writing. I'm going somewhere with this. Now, if I want to talk about Manchester, maybe I'll say Manchester United, blah, 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 describe them, okay? Then I can say something like, it has been overwhelmingly agreed that Manchester United is currently doing well. For example, studies have shown that Manchester United, following a number of the managers they have, are doing well. While others suggest that the teams are the ones helping the Manchester United to perform well. While other studies suggest that the administration are the hallmark of its performance. You see now, that is academic writing. So you have used Manchester United is a subject. So the description, and you describe to performance. So once you describe Manchester United and you talk and get to performance, then you stop. And because you've seen papers that talk about performance, how they do well, then you can use that papers to back up that evidence you have mentioned. I want you to think as a lawyer. So anytime you are doing academic writing, know you are a lawyer defending the coursework. The coursework you are asked to write, the assignment you are given is your client. You are a lawyer trying to make a case for that your client, which is that topic you are given to write. I hope that makes sense. Now, I thought if I go this way, it will help you to understand it better. Now, what about maybe we have out of the other 10 people, so 3 people say Manchester is doing well. We can have other people that say, oh, Manchester is not doing well because they are not doing well. That's why they keep changing coaches. Okay? Then we can have another people that say that Manchester is not doing well, and this is because they don't have good players. There is a need to change players, as the case may be. And you can have another people that say that Manchester United are not doing well because their administration, structures require improvement. Now, see, this is opposite of what we have heard before. The other one said they are doing well because of players, because of coaches, because of administration. This one is saying they are not doing well. Now, how do you do that? So, why you have said, okay, like I've said before, Manchester United, they are doing well, and because of that, studies have shown that they are doing well because of this or that or that. So, like I've said before, now I want to include the one that said that they are not doing well. Do you get that? So, because the first evidence was based on they are doing well. How do we then include the one that are not doing well? Then, depending on how you structure your work, you cannot say, however, this evidence is not consistent with a number of studies. While other studies suggest that Manchester United are not doing well because of, their players are not good and that required to improve. While, this has been supported with a study conducted by this person or that person showing that Manchester performance are due to the lack of effective administration, as the case may be, and you support it with these evidences. Do you understand? That is academic writing. So academic writing is evidence-based writing. So it's argument, is a case kind of writing. So you are a lawyer making a case for that subject you are asked to write on. Stay with me, guys. Now, for you to be able to understand this is that if you're a student, there is what we call assessment brief. There's what we call assessment brief. Now, especially if you come from outside UK or maybe outside US, like you are not your home country, in your home country, they don't usually talk about, academic writing. You may not understand this. And that is where many of us, like I said, that visit my YouTube, this is why I really want to help you. So anytime you are giving a coursework, don't be in a hurry to write it. There are ways you can be able to have effective academic writing, okay? Now, I think I should say this towards the end, but let me say this. So, if you go to your module area or your course area, depending on what you guys use, you might be using Moodle, you might be using Blackboard, as the case may be, okay? Every of the courses you are doing or module you are doing have a module area and it's going to be populated with information. Here in the United Kingdom, we are so kind to tell you what to do. As far as I'm concerned, what we do here is open paper exam, open book exam. So what it means that we'll give you assessment brief. We'll say, if you want to score 80 to 100, do this, do that. We'll show you what to do. You'll see it in a tabular form, okay? You see what you need to do according to the sessions. Then 70 to 80, we'll show you 60 to 70, whatever. Okay, you go along first, fail, but nobody wants fail, okay? So what you need to do, study that assessment brief. We'll call it rubrics. Study the rubrics, because assessment brief will contain, of course, how you are going to be assessed, when you're supposed to submit your work and all of that. Then towards the end, you will see a table, and that table will now include information that shows you, if you do this way, this is what you will get. If you do that way, this is what you get. In other words, you can actually self-mark yourself. So you must study that. But there is one thing that is common, and that is where I'm going. There is one thing that is common in every assessment brief. Towards the upper part, you will hear something like, maybe exceptional discussion, or as the case may be, or exceptional critical analysis, as the case may be. And that will now lead me to the next word. Okay? Now, if you go to when it comes to academic writing, you will hear something like critically discuss or critically evaluate. Do you understand me? Or as the case may be. So once you hear this thing in any form it comes, it means evidence-based, like I've said. So what you need is to understand what I've been said. Are you getting me? Look at the rubrics and begin to make a structure it. Now, that will lead me to my next point. If you want to write very well, don't be in a hurry to write. So once a coursework is given to you, spend your time, find out what the coursework is saying. First of all, read paper. Just read generally. My recommendation is read at least 10 papers regarding that matter, okay? Or 20, as the case may be. At least have understanding first, okay? When you have the understanding of what you are reading, okay, then you begin to form structure. Just have a chart, okay? Like a figure chart, okay? Maybe say, first of all, I'll talk about this, then I'll follow by this, then I'll follow by this. Have that chart. Don't just go into writing. Once you have the chart, how will you come about the chart? The chart will come from these papers you have read. You see how these papers have structured it, okay? Then you say, okay, I'll talk about this first, 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 I'll talk about that first. Once you do that, what do I mean talk about this first? So remember I told you, you cannot argue. You cannot do critical analysis. You cannot do argumentative essay without description. So you always going to find a way to describe, okay, where possible. In fact, it depends on what you're writing anyway, but you find a way to describe. Are you getting me? That description should lead to a point. Once you get to that point, you stop and analyze the point. Once you analyze the point, you link the ending of that point to the next point you will make, according to what you have structured. So you structured, I'll write A, then I'll write B, I'll write C, then you go on. So once you make a point A, you stop on A and make argument, like I've told you, find evidences that support it or doesn't support it, make that case. Then towards the end, introduce B and continue like that, okay? That's how to structure it. Now, this thing I said is very, very important, okay? Now, because I keep saying evidence-based, it's important that papers you are using to make those cases, you must cite them. It's very, very important. You cite them. So in academic writing, if you don't give us evidence of citation evidence, we can say that is your personal opinion. So we use the word is your personal opinion when you have written something, whether argumentative, even though you have structured it very well, you've written it, but no citation, no evidence to support your claim, we'll say is your personal opinion. It becomes a good academic writing when you support your argument or your case with evidence from the literature. And that is why when you are supporting, it's important that you do according to your university referencing style or citation style. So some people use APA, you can use a Harvard or MLA, there's all kinds of referencing style. You just need to find out, okay, and then use it, okay? Now, if you don't know how to find out, every university, once you go to their library, they are more than happy to support you. Does that make sense, okay? Now, so that is what that means. So you make the point, you cite. Now, there's a difference between citation and reference list. Okay, so in citation, we'll cite the paper, but in reference list, we'll now make a list that give us broad information about that particular paper. For example, if you say something like Obodo et al., what it means that it is not only Obodo that wrote that book, but in the citation, you will say Obodo et al. But if it was Emmanuel and Obodo, then that means it's only two of them that wrote it. You can say Emmanuel and Obodo, then you put the year, as the case may be. So there are different ways, that's for citation. But when you go to the reference list, we might want to see the title, we want to see the year, we may want to see the DOI, and so on. Okay, so and the where it was published and all of that. So that is for the reference list. Okay, right, I've made that point clear. So it is not academic writing if after all you've done, there is no evidence to support your claim. And that evidence has to be the source from the literature. In fact, while I'm here, let me make another point. As a lecturer, there are some things I found out about students. They will write like, maybe 10 lines before they put citation. In my opinion, that's not a good academic practice, okay? So it's important that anytime you make any point, you put citation. Even if you repeat the source, but it's a good academic practice that the more you write, don't write too long before putting a source. Write, once you write like maybe, should I say, I don't know, depending on how you are writing, how you structure, maybe 4 lines, 5 lines, make sure you put source. It's very, very important. Sometimes 2 lines, 3 lines, make sure you put source. It's very, very important, okay? Right, so that is for academic writing. So academic writing here is evidence-based writing. So that's why I've used Manchester United to show you what you need to do. So you need to read papers, understand papers, use the papers to structure your work, and then as you use them to structure your work, you follow like that. Now, if you are a student already, maybe you are still studying, there are common questions, there are some common comments you are likely to hear. You may hear something like, the link can be better, or this can be better linked to the previous statement, or the flow can be better. The reason why the flow or the structure can be better, as the case may be, is because you are not following structure. So that's why the best way to write is to A, B, C. So it has to be coming. You need to be conscious of what you're doing. And because of that, you need to have the structure first before you start your writing. That is why when let's say you've written A, B, and you are on C now, and when you go to C, for you to start that C, you need to mention what you said about A. Now, it's important to say that as previously mentioned. Do you understand? Then it makes the reader, it makes it to flow. Do you understand? And once it flows with strong academic evidences supporting the claim, you'll be an A student. Okay? So now that's the point I want to make there when it comes to academic writing. The way I want you to think it, to remember, you are a lawyer. The coursework you are giving, the topic you are giving is your client. You are defending your client, so every point you are making, you must support it with evidence. The evidence is the constitution. So when the lawyer says, according to section this, subsection that, okay, that is your paper. According to Obodo et al., according to the study conducted in Canada that state this, then you put the sources. So those sources are the constitution. Do you understand me? Okay? So that is evidence-based. Now, let me add another layer here. So this is also where you need to understand there are different papers, okay? In fact, there are different papers. For example, you have what to call literature review, okay? Then you have what to call primary paper, okay? Now, this primary paper, most times, is well recommended in academic writing. Now, I know that depending on what you're writing, sometimes it can be very challenging. It's important that you know what it means, okay? Now, in fact, when you are referencing, when you are citing source, there are ways you can cite source from different papers, obviously, even from the book chapter, okay? You can also cite from the literature review, obviously from the research paper like primary paper, okay? Sometimes, where possible, you can also cite a source, like website, like when you say WHO, or when you say NHS, or when you say UCAS, or something like that, you can cite them. There are different ways to cite them, and of course, there are different ways you can, include them on your reference list and so on, okay? Now, I give you an example. When it comes to the website, it's important that in your reference list, you put the link, okay? Maybe retrieve from, as it is, depending on the referencing style. I'm just trying to make a point here. Now, what that means is this. What is the difference? Let me mention the two main one, okay? We have a primary paper, we have literature review paper. So when you say primary paper, very simple, let me keep it simple. It means that this particular paper, they conducted experiments. So let me put it this way. When you see a paper that has method and result, that is a primary paper. Let me put it that simple. But when you see a paper that don't have method and result, but they are discussing the result that other people have got, are you getting me? Or what other people have done, okay, that is a literature review paper. Now, I told you guys that for you to write, you need to structure very well. That structure would, if I were you, that would be my recommendation. You can use it or not. If you see a primary paper or a original research paper, like I've said, the one that has method, result, most times it's very short. You just have abstract, you just have maybe a little background or introduction, then you have method, are you getting me? Then you have result, then you have the graph or maybe the chart, you know what I mean? Then you have discussion. That's what it's going to show you. It is unlikely to help you to structure well. Primary papers are mainly more important in the making case, because when you are making case, it's also important that as you're providing your evidence, you can use examples, specific example. Let me give you an example. You can say that a study conducted by blah, 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 that used a questionnaire that asks this, that, the outcome of that questionnaire shows this, that. So the reason why you are able to mention specific of what the study did is because they had method, they had result. Do you understand, guys? Okay. Now, if you understand, but when it comes to literature review, what they're doing, they're reviewing all these, papers, whether it's whether it's another literature review or whether it's a primary paper, they're just reviewing it. There's no method. Are you getting me? There's no result. They're just discussing or maybe reviewing what other people has discussed or found, as the case may be. That's a literature review. Okay. Now, it is such papers, literature review now, that can help you to structure your work. If I were you, if you're giving a coursework, while you read primary papers, keep them aside for making cases, okay? For, of course, as evidence-based, okay? To support your claim. But use a literature review, because they are reviewing all these things. The topic, let's say Manchester United, they are reviewing Manchester United, and they are using all these sources. So they are likely to have structured it first. So if you understand it, obviously, depending on what you are being asked to do, by the way, you can now use the way the literature review has structured it and structure your own as well. Or at least it will give you idea on how to structure it. For example, you look at what they've talked according to headings. Then you see the way it flows. Then you can also arrange your work like that. Sometimes when you have assessment brief, we can give you some details, subsection of what to expect. That means we've already planned it for you. Your own is just to arrange it like that and so on. So that is for academic writing. Okay. So I've told you guys about the literature review paper. I've told you guys about primary paper. These are just the two main ones. There are other papers. Let me know what you guys about that. So that is very, very, very important. Okay. I wanted to talk about research here, but I think maybe on the next video. Okay. But that is what academic writing means. So in academic writing, you are not just making a statement. That statement you are making must be defended. So it has to be argued. Who supported it, who did not support it, as the case may be. That is academic writing. And that sometimes we hear something like extensive analysis. Extensive analysis means sometimes what people do that they just say, okay, Manchester United is performing well. This has been shown by this person that Manchester United is performing well. They move to the next thing. No. That is academic writing. However, that analysis is very weak. Do you understand me? If you really want to get a high mark, you have to drag the point. Anyway, depending on the word count again, you have to drag the point as much as possible. Extensive analysis. So you can analyze a point and be analyzing it with different sources, okay? So by the time you finish that source, before you finish that point, you have included all kinds of paper with different views and all of that. And when you are doing analysis, don't be biased. Don't be biased, guys. Don't be biased in your analysis. Don't be open mind. Don't support any paper. Don't be, are you getting me? Keep, writing it as the case may be. And that will help you to be able to explore different options. So what I would say that when you are writing, depending on how you structure it, okay? If I were you, if I'm writing, you structure first, maybe people that agree the point, okay, and how they agreed with the point. Then you can also say, however, then you can also include the people that did not agree with the point. I hope that makes sense. So that is academic writing. I wanted to talk about the importance of conclusion in academic writing but perhaps I will talk about it some other time so that I won't complicate this video, okay? But that's what I want you guys to understand about academic writing. Hopefully, I've been able to cover all that I wanted to say. I think that is what it's supposed to be. But do let me know what you think about the video. If you think there's still some gray area, let me know. I'm more than happy to make the video, because I want each one of you guys that visit this YouTube to do well, not just in your searching for job, but of course, I know that a number of you guys are students, so that you can be able to know how to do academic writing, okay? All right, so I hope that makes sense. Please let me know what you think about the video, and please do feel free as well, if you need academic support, as the case may be, feel free to contact Too Good Consultant Limited. We are more than happy to support where possible. Anyway, thank you so much, and I wish you all the best till I come back away again. Bye-bye.